So, the weekend came and went. Some of us had a busy weekend and then fell asleep on a live stream, and then nevertheless, I think it went well. Then we did a live stream again yesterday. And somebody was going to say, why don't you do a live stream while the alarm goes off? Well, the simple fact is it isn't going to go off because I had the common sense to turn the bloody thing off. Neither of my phones went off. None of my phones were locked up, and I carried on about my day completely unperturbed by any of this, as somebody like myself would do. However, I spoke to Jude, my friend, and she said that she was looking at the news, poor girl, and she said that they were actually reporting on these people being over the moon excited and waiting with bated breath for the alarm to go off. Really? I thought to myself for a split second, I thought there must be just a pub full of actors. And then I thought, it probably isn't actually. Because the Lemmings that were waiting for this alarm to go off with bated breath were the same fools that couldn't wait to get locked up for long periods of time because of a supposed bug that was going to kill them. And these were the same fools that were wearing masks or double mask in a car together. And they're still doing it, by the way. Or one of these idiots that would go around grassing their neighbours up for, I don't know, breaking said rules. You know, the ones that would be queuing up at the doctor to be the first to get the latest medical intervention. I'm very disappointed with humanity at the moment. It seems that these people are so infinitely dull and need to be led by the collar to whatever the latest dilemma, disaster, or the latest thing to follow. These were the ones that would get the latest clothes. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid and there were Fred Flintstone jeans. Does anybody remember that? And I obviously didn't want to wear those because I didn't want to look like an absolute fucking idiot. However, there were people that did. They went, why are you getting that? Because I'm not a knob. Well, there you go. So, yeah, I would just... and I remember people saying, oh, this thing will go off and it'll lock your phone up. My phone works fine. There's a lot of hype that goes around stuff like this, but it does seem to me that there are people out there at the moment that actually get an app on their phone that will tell them when they need to take a shit. There are people that just desperately are incapable of drumming up any excitement for themselves, or their life is so devoid of any great fun or their ability to be able to free think, that they're so immersed in the system that they'll probably look forward to the 15-minute cities. They probably like, at some point in the future, their life to be completely in like a camera on the head, or the head switched off, or basically strapped into the Matrix. Do you remember, some of you may or may not watch the film, that there's one guy who actually wants to get put back into the Matrix, and because it's easier and he wants to be a rich person. There are people that like living within the Matrix because it's easier to go along and not think for yourself and just have everybody do the hard work for you than it is to actually start to think for yourself and then have to rely on your own self for the rest of it. Because once you unplug yourself, you're on your own, basically. Yeah, there'll be other people with you who will believe in what you're saying and stuff like that, but pretty much from there on in, once you've worked out that most of your early formative years were bollocks, in so much as what you were taught was bollocks, we were lied to from the very moment we could open our ears to pretty much the day we die, unless we stop believing in the system, and then the system turns on you and all its followers do. That seems to be the pattern. But would you, if you could, get plugged back into the system, would you? You know what I'm saying here, I'm talking metaphorically. Personally, I couldn't. Living a lie to me is, I'd rather not live at all. I mean that. I have, over the years, as I've become more and more dependent upon myself for the truth, I stopped listening to the news, I stopped believing in the police, doctors, all of that shite. And I started to go through history. And then you pick up events and you start to see there's a pattern emerging of lies through the media, through the papers, lies from academia, lies from all stuff. And as you get more detached from the system, if you want, you can see it a lot easier. And it's fascinating, yet entirely all-consuming. Only for the fact that you look around at all these people and you think to yourself, are you still believing in all of the shit that they told you? I mean, let's be honest, the Tooth Fairy, I hate those kind of lies. No, just kidding, but it's just everything we were taught near enough was bollocks. And I feel sorry for the kids of today, because if you thought they went hard at us with the lies, fuck me, they're giving them some shit. I mean, these poor little kids nowadays, are feeling guilty for existing. Like they had any choice or any say in that. Their existence is purely from two people who decided to get a leg over. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, white guilt, what's that? You should be proud to be white. Some of the best inventors of the world were white. The very fact that we live our lives as easily as we do at the moment is in fact thanks to the white race. That's not to say that black people are stupid or anything like that, or anybody else. No, everybody has had their role to play in life, but most of the great inventions did come from white people. So I would never have white guilt, but they're pushing it on white kids at the moment. You know, you're guilty from everything from whatever. You get it. I can't even be bothered to go down that route. But yeah, it was the finding out that these people were excited, by the way, going back for an alarm to go off, made me feel pretty hopeless for them. Because if that is the some excitement of your weekend, you really should look into euthanasia, because you give up, just really. And that's sarcasm, by the way, for some of you that might, any of you that's watching this is incredibly left wing, you won't understand sarcasm. That was a moment of sarcasm there. But yeah, it's just lately, you may notice I've not put so much content out. That is a lot to do with work. And obviously when I'm driving this truck is shaped like a brick, and it has this green strip that goes along the front made out of plastic. It's to stop the sun glare coming in, but it whistles like you will not believe. And it is, as I say, a tipper truck is a brick, so it sounds like I'm in a tornado when I'm driving. So yeah, you lot can't hear me and you complain, or some of you do. So there it is. But anyway, I just wonder what you thought about it. Did you leave your notifications on? Did you get the alarm? Did you think, what was all that about? Or did you, like me and many others, turn it off? Because at the end of the day, I don't trust anything that they send anyway. They could tell me an effing tsunami was on the way. I wouldn't give a shit. Probably believe it anyway with them. But whatever. So yeah, let me know what you thought about that. And obviously what you think about the Lemmings. Them that desperately want to be plugged in. Them that push for the 15-minute cities, them that along with the green agenda, those that believe in global warming, those that believe that COVID-19 was the most dangerous thing that ever happened to us. We've got nuclear war waiting around the corner, and those that actually believe that we could go to nuclear war, because here, that'll be the next thing at the moment. They'll push all about how bad and we're going to get invaded by Putin and all the rest of it, which isn't going to happen. But the spectre of nuclear war hanging over our head is a great way to fleece us of a couple more trillion in a defence budget. And who benefits from that? The globalists, because the globalists are the people that supply the armaments to the defence. It's so... You get to the point where you think, am I sounding like a chiming bell? Or you know, am I saying the same thing over and over? Is this, you know, am I actually getting out to people that haven't heard this before and therefore I should carry on? Or am I just saying the same thing over again to people that have just heard this before? I don't know. Only you can tell me, I don't know. But yeah, it's just I look around. If you go shopping, you can see them. Some of them are just dead behind the eyes and you think, how bad is it to be you? Your entire, everything about you looks dead behind the eyes. You look like you're just going through the motions. I just couldn't imagine that. I mean, I still get, like today, there was a part of me that wanted to get out and knock the bloke out because he spoke to me badly. But it's nice to still have that fire in your belly rather than be one of these sheep, the drones that just go through the motions and just don't have any great zest about them. I just can't imagine being like that. And though being one of the few and the frustrations that go with that, it is frustrating, I'd still rather be me than be one of them. And yeah, all I can feel is pity for them, which they probably wouldn't want, but whatever. Well, if they could fucking think. Let me know what you think. You know what I'm trying to say here, though, don't you? It's just, I've stopped looking at social media quite a lot. He says, doing video for social media. I don't generally go around now looking at what the latest aggro is, or what the latest fear is, or what the latest whinge and moan, or what Harry and Meghan done, or whatever. I don't bother any. And since I've been like that, it's been better for me. If I feel a bit, I don't know, if I get low, I'll go and put on, because I've got a collection of 80s and 90s and stuff like that music, I'll just put my headphones on, have a listen to that, and just go back to the past and remember the good times. And I'll just take my mind off what we're doing right now, because I know what's coming, roughly. You know what's coming. We don't have to be reminded every fucking 30 seconds about this, because we've still got to live right now. We have to get on with our lives, because I don't know about you, when you were 19, you thought that what you were going through at the time was, in many cases, awful, terrible. The stress, it's unbelievable. But all it was, in the grand scheme of things, was a very small first world problem. And when you look back now at those years, they were great. And I have to say, if you're alive, if we're alive in 20 years' time, we look back at now will seem good in comparison. So you have to live this moment. You can't completely suck in the terribleness and live it 24 hours. It's no good for you. So there are times you have to be able to go, no, fuck off, turn it all off and live. Actually enjoy the moment. Because sands of your time, basically you're watching them go down, and I don't know, I get a certain sense of mortality now when I look around at people who are my age that don't look very well, or you look at film stars that you remember as them as being young and they've just parked their clogs up finally and stuff. You just think to yourself, you have to enjoy now, because you don't know how much longer you've got left. And I don't mean that in a depressive sense of the word, but the point is, for every minute that you lose, you'll never get that back. So just have fun, even if it's just taking the piss out of something. Just enjoy the moment. And now I'm going to enjoy my tea that I didn't prepare it. Sister Jude, my friend, has batch cooked me up some chili con carne, and my God, they're lovely. So I'm going to have that cold, because it doesn't stay hot in here. But I've got used to this now. I've got so used to eating cold food that it seems normal, whatever. So I'm going to have, what am I going to have? You're probably not interested anyway, but I'll tell you. Tilda sweet lime, or sweet chili and lime basmati rice with chili con carne on top of it. And that's probably why I'm single, because let's be fair, after that lot's done its work, you wouldn't be able to share a flat with somebody, would you? Well, whatever. Anyway, see you in a bit.